Everybody, and welcome to yet another Q&A session on Hinduism. My name is Nishit Kotak. I'm here with Jay Lakhani. Jay, welcome to today's session.
Pleasure.
So hope you're all enjoying yourselves on the weekend today. For a change, it's a sunny, nice, wonderful afternoon in London here where we are. So let me just remind you folks what this is all about. So every Saturday at 2 o'clock UK time, myself and Jay, we go live online and we try and answer the questions that you may have on Hinduism. So the format is that we do this for about 45 minutes and we will start off with a bunch of questions that we have from previous broadcasts, and we will then try and attempt to answer some of your questions live online. So what I'd like you to do is, if you have any questions, any comments, any queries, please drop them into the comments area, whether you're watching us on YouTube or you're watching us on Facebook, and we will get around to it very, very shortly. So Jay, let's start off today's discussion with an update from you regarding some broadcast on BBC that's coming up.
Indeed, you see, Nishit, I have always been very critical of the BBC for not giving enough room or opportunity for Hinduism to be made public, come into the main public arena. And I'm very critical. But once in a while, I manage to get in. And for example, last time when I got into the big questions on BBC One TV, I think that particular program hit huge amount of hits, a few million hits immediately. So the material that I present immediately kind of catches the attention of the general public. So tomorrow's session that we have, BBC Big Questions, is on the issue of reincarnation. It's a very central feature regarding all the Indic traditions, Hinduism, Buddhism, Jainism, and Sikhism. And I'll do my best to plug in the relevance and importance of reviving the idea of reincarnation for the greater world. Because the reason why we struggle so much, you've got so much violence in the name of religion, and also why we have this infinitely skewed risk-reward ratio, which is creating hell on earth. It is better to kind of readdress the idea of life after death as reincarnation rather than eternal heaven and hell. So this is one thing I'm going to plug in. But you see, my problem is this. The BBC has a strong Christian ethos. So if Hinduism comes out as a kind of a very powerful idea, then immediately Nikki Campbell, who's the person who kind of monitoring the program, will immediately cut me short and immediately can plug in some kind of weird stuff, etc., to try and in a way distract attention from what I'm presenting. So I'm going to struggle tomorrow, but I am ready for it. I will roll up my sleeves and I go in whenever I get a chance. So this is what's happening tomorrow. BBC, if you're in UK, 11 o'clock tomorrow, BBC Big Questions at 11 o'clock. Now this is important because you see, some of the wonderful ideas we possess are necessary for the greater world. And this is why I'm very keen that this particular program, gets aired tomorrow. And I think, hopefully I should do well. Now, there's other thing that I must point out is this. You see, I've got continuous challenges from people trying to still promote the idea of Aryan invasion theory. There's Mr. Lakhani, definitely there's Aryan invasion, and even the genetic research that you are suggesting is talking about the female population, but the male population seems to kind of mix and match of other participants, other nationalities. So that means that there was Aryan invasion. It's nonsense. If the Aryans came, they would not just come with the husbands. Maybe the first, the fighting force might be male, but then they will bring in the women. So the women's genes must become visible in the Indian subcontinent. It is not so. So it's not that the male came and said, okay, we'll marry the Indian women and forget our own wives in the home, etc. It cannot be like that. And when the Europeans went to, say, North America, South America, Australia, New Zealand, they didn't say, oh, we'll marry the red Indian women. They just took the women from here. So it is nonsense to suggest that Aryans, the male only came and dominated India. That's nonsense. So this is very important. The other thing, Nishit, I must kind of bring in, because these are the things I face on a day-to-day basis. The other issue is this. And it's very important. I'll give you a very interesting example of how something can be turned on its head. As the Hindus have been very magnanimous, some of the wonderful ideas that we see in the Western world were actually originally out of India. And yet, this has not been acknowledged. We have not been given the credit for it. And this is a very frightening scenario. I'll give you an example of how this thing can be turned on its head. I'll give you an anecdote. When we were publishing 2 textbooks on Hinduism, they were published in Singapore and they're very popular. We had quite a few reprints. When we were publishing, just showing our magnanimous nature, we told the publisher, we will not put in a clause regarding copyrights. By that we mean anybody can take what they like and make it their own. We don't mind. We are big-hearted people. They don't have to ask our permission. That's what we meant. But the publisher, very worldly wise person, he said, Mr. Lakhani, that's the last thing you do. I said, why not? What's wrong? It seems like a good idea. They said, no, you don't do that. The reason why you don't do this. Somebody else is going to use all the material in your book, publish his own book, and then make a court claim against you for plagiarism. That means you have stolen his idea. You see what will happen? So you better copyright it straight away. I say, this is worldly wise advice, but it's a good advice. So we had to put in the copyright clause saying you can't pinch stuff without our permission and so on. So this is how we protected ourselves. But let me give you the reason why this is important. The same way the Hindus were so magnanimous, some of the wonderful ideas we possessed, we allowed them to be transmitted to the Western world. But we did not ask for copyrights. So this has been turned against us, saying that this has come from outside. We didn't have all this Sanskrit and all this wonderful philosophy. It came from outside. Because we didn't plug in our copyright, they're turning it on its head. I'll just give you one example, cutting example. You see, that the wonderful numeral system that we have, numeric system we have, this decimal placing idea is very much a Hindu idea. Very clearly visible, was first become available in the Hindu tradition. And yet, do you think that the Western world will say, oh, these are Indian numeric system? They will say, no, it's Arabic numeral. What Arabic? The Arabs were trading with us, they pinched it from us, but they turned the tables and said, these are Arabic numerals. What Arabic numerals? They are Hindu numerals. So when we don't insist on copyright, the tables have been turned against us. This is the way this Aryan invasion theory has been turned on its head, and we are being made to feel secondary. This is utter, we must say nonsense. So some of the wonderful things we possess, because we did not put copyright on it, has been turned round against us, saying that we actually imported it from outside, say Ukraine. It's utter nonsense. So these are the two issues that I wanted to raise before I start our session.
Brilliant. I think it is a very important thing that you should claim credit where it is due, and to protect those sort of intellectual assets or something like that. It's very important to do that. So we'll get started into the Q&A session. So the first question of the day, Jevai, is from Gopa Kumar. And he's asking, how does one draw the boundary between scientific thinking and spirituality? And why is modern science unable to explain spirituality in a context that people can relate to?
Yes, you see, this appears like a disjoint. You've got this idea of a scientific worldview, which basically means we'll only agree with things which can be kind of researched using our five senses. They are called empirical evidence. So unless we've got empirical evidence, means we can put our five senses around that phenomenon you are talking about, we will consider it to be just poetry. So we will not give it any credence. We will not consider any statement which does not agree with the empirical evidence as, if you like, irrelevant. This is how science is trying to be kind of very stodgy regarding how it makes sense of the world. Fair enough, this is the scientific lobby. Now the issue is this, the spiritual aspect that we talk about, or we present in Hinduism, is definitely not empirical, that's why it's called spiritual. If it was empirical, we can't call it spiritual, it's just extension of the material kingdom. And we keep insisting, things like consciousness and etc. are nothing to do coming out of matter. So if you try and explain it in terms of matter or some kind of material evidence, it's going to fail. Now, you see, this is an important issue. And in fact, I'm doing a talk shortly at Leopold Hope University, where I've been given good, promotion, saying that let us discuss the area of science and spirituality in the deeper level. And what I'm going to present will come on YouTube and Facebook, etc., is simply this. The deeper vision that spirituality offers human beings will allow science now to progress further. It is stuck in a rut. To the integrity of science itself, it has found itself suddenly in a cul-de-sac. It can't get out. So I'm saying the spiritual aspect that we come with will allow science to escape this cul-de-sac and progress further. So science is in the right line. But the thing is, there are always issues that through empirical evidence, we are discovering deeper dimension to reality. So we have to acknowledge it, and that deeper dimension is non-material. So if you say, give me empirical proof, it won't be. This is the whole point. Otherwise, it's no longer spiritual. It is, very much a material phenomena. And we keep insisting it is not something that comes out of matter. So if you try to give us some material explanation, it will always struggle. But I'm going to really roll up my sleeves and give some interesting ideas at Liverpool Hope University, saying how the deeper vision that is now visible through science is now reflecting what can best be termed as a spiritual aspect to humanity. And I'm not the first person. The father of quantum physics, Erwin Schrödinger, said very clearly, the resolution of modern physics lies with Eastern metaphysics. That's what I'm all about.
Good. So I'd like to say welcome to a few of our viewers. We've got Pratik Garg watching us from West Bengal in India. In fact, Pratik said he's had to change his service provider so he can watch our broadcast live and uninterrupted. Glad to have you on the broadcast, Pratik. And I'd like to say a few hello to a few other friends on YouTube. We got Akash Pitlani, Vijit Singh, Yash, watching us from India as well. Fani Raj, welcome, is a regular viewer from Bangalore. We got Deb Jyoti Bose, hi, and Satvik Pai, all the regular viewers. Thank you so much for joining us, folks. What I'd like you to do is, if you're enjoying the broadcast, you know what to do. Hit the share button. Let other friends and family members join us in this conversation that we're having today. So we'll get cracking on with the next question, which is, Satvik wanted to ask, why does Atman wish to reincarnate?
Okay, good. You see, the thing is this. This is again, I have to repeat this again, and look, I have to take one of the examining board, the Cambridge University board, to task. They cannot tell the difference. In the last exam, they were doing the marking scheme, say that, oh, the Atman is, suffering because it is eating and not eating, etc. Atman doesn't do stuff like that. This is the whole distinction. The thing that we must understand is this. Atman is actually our essential nature, which is non-material, non-mental, non-intellectual, non-ego. That underpinning, the thing that underpins all of us, Atman, is not something that has got desires, has desire to be reborn. There's nothing to do with Atman. Jivatman, the idea of Atman, which seems to have been captured through this mind and body frame. Look at the word, it seems to have been captured, seems to have been kind of manifesting itself through this mind and body. That has difficulty, that has issues, that has desires, likes to be reincarnated to fulfill desires. But the thing that is up above, Atman, doesn't get caught up with all the, otherwise it's worthless. What is to about Atman if it is going to be caught up with desires and desire to be even reincarnated? And the example I've given is this. It's like the sun over the ocean. When the sun is shining at the crest of every wave, you see, wee shimmer, shimmer. And all this shimmer is Jivatman. The sun is the Atman. That Atman doesn't come down to the water, doesn't have ups and downs, disappear, appear, reappear. Jivatman does that, not the Atman. So Atman doesn't have any desire to be, reincarnated. It's Jivatman which has got unfulfilled desires, frustration, is trying to resolve its human condition through reincarnation, through another birth. But not the Atman, my friend. Please even Cambridge University board can't make the distinction. So I have to take them to task. I give them a very rough letter saying, can you please make sure your examiner understands the difference between Atman and Jivatman, because it's messing it up.
Good. So folks, thank you so much. We have a very lively bunch of people today on YouTube. Thank you so much for all your contributions. And Pratik was saying that, Pratik says, or he's made some couple of comments on how he's enjoying the broadcast.
Thank you
so much.
Thank you, Pratik.
And we had a question from Krishna Reddy, who watches us from Berlin. And Krishna's question is this, and I'm sure a lot of people are going to relate with this very much so. So he says, how does one maintain a consistent motivation, a vision, and a balance of truth amongst all the requirements and responsibilities that we have in our normal day-to-day human life, right? Every day it seems what we are going through pales in comparison with where we are supposed to be aspiring to. So how do we find the resilience and the motivation to go through our day-to-day mundane life and go for the higher purpose?
It's very, very, very practical question, very true question that every true devout person should be asking. It's nice to understand all this Atman and Mr. Lakhani talking all this lovely stuff, but in our routine life, which is quite, jagged and canterous and difficult, living through that life, how can we continually help, you can try and kind of hang on to the idea of our spiritual dimension? There are 2 or 3 things that my mentor has taught me, which I'll just mention to you. One he said is this: the only way you can have this consistency of trying to make spiritual progress is as follows. He says, please, from time to time, go into solitude, not with your family and friend or your partners, just in solitude, and take stock of your life. And when we do that, we suddenly discover, my God, we're not progress at all. We're just struggling in the same mundane, being buffeted by worldly desires and all that. So when you try and keep taking stock of your own life, your own spiritual progress in a repeated manner, this will in a way give you the handle to hang on to your spiritual progress. So say, okay, I made 1% progress, but at least something. So in a way, you slowly build up your own confidence by taking stock of your own personal journey, your own personal advancement in spiritual matters. This is one thing. The second thing that came from my mentor is when he said that, look, in the mundane life, we get caught up. We think that, oh, he's a lovely friend and I must go to this party and I must meet this person and, oh, it's a lovely function I must attend. we get caught up with very worldly objectives that the world is kind of aspiring. Do we get caught up with it as well? So we mix with people, all human beings are nice, they're all spiritual beings, but we mix with people whose aspirations are very low, the worldly aspirations. They don't have any higher aspirations. In fact, some American thinker said very nicely, see, when you meet somebody, you straightway realize the level at which you're operating. People at the very lower level will talk about other individuals. See this man, there's gossip. Oh, he ran away with his, somebody ran away with his wife. They talk gossip, so they talk about individuals. People who are more advanced will not talk about individuals, they talk about events. Did you hear that? There was a suicide bomb here. So they talk about events rather than individuals. This is the second level, higher level. Please excuse us, we are in the middle of a... Okay, the third level of people that this person says are perhaps the higher level of operating are people who don't think about individuals, don't talk about events, but talk about ideas. See, in the realm of the mind, not in the realm of the physical world, entering the realm of the mind. So they will talk about ideals, ideas. These are the higher level. So what my mentor said is this: be very careful regarding what company you keep. It is very easy to be caught up by people who are very worldly. They want to hold a glass of wine. I went on holiday. So you get caught up at this lower level. So try and be very choosy regarding the company. I'm not saying go, make yourself aloof. You have to interact with the greater humanity, but be a little bit choosy regarding who you interact with. If you interact with people with higher ideals, it will rub off on you. If you interact with people who are with lower ideals, that will rub off on you. So your progress will come to a halt. So these are the two key features that my mentor suggested. Mix with people with higher principles, higher ideals, and from time to time go into solitude and take stock of your own spiritual progress.
In fact, J-Bhai, what I would suggest is sometimes when you take stock, it's very important. Yesterday we were at a mastermind session for where my business colleagues are, and I was writing down my action points since the last month when we met. And when I read out the achievements that I had made in that 1 month, I shocked myself that I was able to accomplish so much. Yet over the course of the month, I didn't realize. But when I sat down and I wrote everything down and I said, wow, this was a really good month.
Look, Nishit bhai, forget about this. The amount of work you're doing for a Hindu Academy in promoting this lovely stuff, that itself is a great achievement. So I'll give you one more tick.
Thank you. So sometimes it helps to sit down and reflect. You may think you're not making progress, but when you take stock, you will realize how much progress and how far you've come along in your journey. So I hope that helps answer the question, Krishna Reddy. And we will now move on to the next question that we've got. And that is a question, from Safraz Ansari watching us on YouTube. So Safraz's question is this, and I know the answer, we've touched upon this, but sometimes we have new people on the broadcast and it's important to share the same information. When most of humanity believes in one God, why do Hindus believe in so many gods like the Greeks and the Romans?
Okay. Look, again, we have done this so many times, and we just did it about 2 sessions ago.
Yes.
We do not have many gods, despite what the Hindus will tell you, despite what you see in the temples. We have not many gods, but many ways to think about God. You can think of God in different forms depending on your own cultural, your social, your family background. So we have not many gods, we have many ways to think about God. It doesn't stop with the idea just many ways to think about God. It says you can think of something ultimate underpinning this reality as not even a personality, but a principle. Where are we going next? First, we say many different, you can think of ultimate as many different personalities depending on your own temperament. Fair enough, okay, go along with it. It is genuine, it's true. You see, the same family, the father may think, I like to think God as Vishnu, the mother say, I think like God as my mother goddess. So be it. Doesn't mean one is right or the other. This is the way they project the idea of God and try and relate to it, try and build a relationship with this idea of ultimate reality as a personality. They try and build they have different approaches, plural ways. Pluralism is a central feature of Hindu tradition. It doesn't stop there. This is the run prize. It also says, you see, you can think of ultimate reality not as a personality, but as a principle that underpins reality. So rather than saying God in the heaven as some supreme personality, hello, it is God alone who is lighting up the whole of the creation, becoming more visible as living thing, and the clearest vision of this thing, ultimate reality, is humanity. So here is your God sparkling in the eyes of every human being you interact. See, not God in heaven, God in humanity. So this is all Hinduism. Personality-based as well as principle-based. And this is, look, I tell you why. In fact, this is why my last BBC broadcast was very popular. Nicky Campbell said, Mr. Lakhani, is one God better than many gods? He thought he'd make a funny comment. I said, no, not many gods, many ways to think about God. And that resolves the issue of how people of different religions can coexist without thumping each other. It also resolves the issue of people in the same religion thumping each other, saying, this is your way, this is my way. Plural ways. We are thinking about the same ultimate. We are kind of projecting the idea of ultimate in the mode that suits our own temperament, our own background. So be it. Don't undermine anybody else's aspiration. At the same time, don't allow others to overwhelm you. So we are right and you are wrong. Don't tolerate nonsense like this. That is why that particular clip went viral. And the clip I'm hoping to tomorrow on reincarnation hopefully will go viral too. Watch it.
I know, I've seen that clip. It's been viewed over 1.5 million times so far online. So it is important information, and thank you for everybody who's been watching it and supporting it. So the next question is from one of the viewers called Yash in India, and he says, in India, some people still continue to be discriminated on the basis of caste. So due to this kind of bias, many of them are leaving Hinduism and converting to other religions. Do you have a solution that you can offer such kind of people who are facing this kind of discrimination still in today's modern world?
Yes, in fact, look, when you see this issue, and it's true, a lot of people converted out of Hinduism, not because they were forced or pressurized as we normally suggest, but because they were feeling completely unhappy with their lot, because they were used as the lower rung of society, crushed, given no dignity. So many people at the lower rung of society say, look, rather than subscribe to this religion, let me change my religion. Understandable, they wanted their dignity back. But actually this caste issue or this idea of lower rung society is not a Hindu phenomenon, it's a universal phenomenon throughout the world. People have a habit of producing some kind of stratification. We are higher. Every society, even communist society. So there is a stratification. You are born here, or you kind of have this kind of, you can pull the plug and you got the string, pull the strings. So there is a hierarchy in every society. Like it or not, this is a human failing, nothing to do with religion, nothing to do with Hinduism. So it is true that many people in the lower rung society, when they feel really oppressed, they said, might as well give up this religion and change to another religion which doesn't take away my dignity.
Which is more accepting of them.
It is understandable. So the Hindus have to grow up very fast and say, look, we have been atrocious to people of the lower rung of society. You must stop doing that and give them full dignity as full Hindus and not kind of some lower rung of society. Then Hinduism is better protected. But you must address this issue. You can't run away from it.
Yes, I do not believe, I do not subscribe to this issue at all. I believe everybody is born equal and no one should be discriminated upon on the basis of caste alone. So the next question is from Kota Teja, who is watching us from Andhra Pradesh. And his question is this: Jay Bhai, how can we motivate ourselves while we are doing our karma without sidelining dharma?
Yes. You see, these are again very pragmatic, practical questions. You see, when you are trying to fulfill your activities, for example, you've got your normal kind of family commitments, etc., and it doesn't seem to be spiritual, but in a way, this is how you do it. Every activity you do, which may be very mundane, very secular, try and see the deeper vision regarding it and turn it into a spiritual venture. I'll give an example. You see, when I'm interacting with my own family members, if I see them as, some just, this is my procreation, these are my progenies, I must look after them, then the relationship is very, very commercial. When I see that every activity I do, whether it is towards my own grandchildren or whatever, grandchild, it is in a way spiritually inspired. So see a spiritual angle to every mundane activity you are carrying out. There is a spiritual element to everything, even very routine thing that you do. When you start seeing it with a spiritual angle, then you will soon begin to relate that spiritual is not something something outside the normal realm of existence. It is very much part of your normal routine life.
Brilliant. So I'd like to just take a moment to welcome a few of our viewers. I'd like to say hello to Fanny Raj watching us. We got Sachin Kotgale. I hope I pronounced that correctly. We got Yash Jingan, Shiv Bhatia, Venkat Santosh. We got Darshan Satwik Pai watching us. And Shashwat Chakrabarti, etc. And we've got a very, very interesting question from Satwik. He's saying, why is Brahman termed as Satchit Anand? Okay. Isn't it supposed to be a blanket underpinning the known universe? Yes. How can it be Chit and Anand?
Okay, good, very good. Ask these kind of very nice philosophic questions. Okay, now Brahman in its proper format is called Nirgun Nirakar. It has no attributes, no qualities, and no shape. Nirgun Nirakar is the central feature of the deeper vision of Hinduism, which is philosophically oriented, which is philosophically sound, and which is, if you like, the underpinning of the whole of our system. So far, so good. But then people like, ordinary people, they've heard the word Brahman, Nirgun, Nirakara, they say, well, how do we get a handle on it? Give us some handle, some language, some linguistic clue to at least get a handle. Otherwise, you're just talking about something you can't understand. There's no word for it, that full stop. How do you relate? So when you challenge people who actually have experienced Brahman, be careful, the word is who actually experience, touch base with Brahman, means they have experienced what this underpinning is all about, the underpinning that you're talking about. When they've had the experience, and when they come out of the experience, then come back to this normal life, the human frame and ego and everything, you challenge them, say, give me some handle. Okay, you touch base and you go, wahoo, yahoo, but what about us? Give us a handle, give us some connection, some link. And the link that they come up with is this ancient word, Sat Chit Anand. Say, okay, but you say there's no attribute, now you give me it attribute. When you think about it, all these things do not have attributes. You say, what do you mean by that? The other word I use is from Adi Shankara is, it says Asti Bhati Priya. Same as Satchit Anand, but they are saying using different vocabulary. Asti Bhati Priya. Let me touch on it because you'll see it how exciting it is. You see, Asti Bhati Priya, you're saying surely there's attribute, and just Brahman doesn't have attributes. How do you say Satchit Anand or Asti Bhati Priya? What do you mean? How can you have attributes? You just said nothing. Now think about it. Asti means existence itself, not what exists, existence itself. If I ask you, what are the attributes of existence? You say, what? Existence. There's nothing. I can't give any other word for it. Oh dear, I thought it was easy. You give me an English word and I thought I would capture it. Exists is the underpinning to reality. See, not what exists. Existence itself is the underpinning. So when you try and put a handle saying, what do you mean by existence? Try and explore it further. You come to a halt straight away. Second word is bhati. Bhati in English would be consciousness. So the nature of consciousness. You say, but Miss Lakhani, you already given it attribute, like Sat Chit. Chit means, consciousness. Surely you've given it attribute. You're not supposed to do that. It's without attributes. I say, yeah, you see what I've given, try and analyze the attribute. When I say bhati, consciousness, and I say, now give me a handle on consciousness. What the heck is this consciousness? You say, you'll give me any example that is you're conscious about, but not consciousness. You will never be able to get a handle on consciousness. Try it as you like. It is underpinning to reality. So when you try and handle, you're saying, try and explain it. Whatever you're conscious about is not consciousness. Consciousness is something that underpins what you are conscious about. It's the very underpinning. But when you try and say, give me a handle of consciousness, nothing. Ask any top neuroscientist, what is the nature of consciousness? What is it? Which slice of the brain produces it? There's no clue. We don't know. It seems to be everywhere and nowhere. So straight away it stops. And the same with the third word, you say Priya or bliss or Anand in the different ways. Is basically saying the real source that what we are trying to touch base with is not pleasure. We think it's a pleasure principle we're chasing after. That is a mistake. That's why we go from one life to another life, reincarnate all the time. It's not the pleasure principle. That's hedonism. The real thing we are in real search, the underpinning is our true nature, which is bliss, blissful. So when you say, now explain bliss, it's not pleasure, I told you. So anything you say, I like chocolate, I don't like this, I hate this, I like this, that is all, if you like, not bliss itself, but a pretense is bliss. So you're trying to, in a way, we get caught up with the pleasure principle rather than what bliss is all about. So you will never be able to get a handle on what you mean. So what have I done? The very feature that these people are talking about, the underpinning to reality, they've touched base with it. And these are the nearest words they can use to try and get a little bit of an indicator of which way we are going. And there's another thing I must say. You see, we are still given three, Sat Chit Anand or Asti Bhati Priya, three. You say, see, the underpinning is unified. It can't have three different kind of, prongs. What's going on, Mr. Lakhani? This is what's going on. At the level of the highest experience of Brahman, this is what happens. This thing that we call existence, this thing we call consciousness, and this we think bliss, they all join up at experiential level. So when a person is getting this spiritual experience, do you know how he feels? He feels, existence. At the same time, it's the most blissful experience, and he becomes not too conscious. First time he really recognizes his true nature as consciousness itself. So these things, they are not three prongs. They merge at the level of experience, not at the level of intellect, the level of analyzing. You say three, Satchidanand, Asti, Bhati, Priya. At the level of experience, they merge. So that experience is not, you can't distinguish, is it to do with existence? I am getting blissful. What? They've joined up. Isn't it fun?
Okay, thank you everybody for contributing today. We've got a number of questions today, but we only have about 15-20 minutes left on this session. So I will address one question from Yograj Bell watching us on YouTube, and I believe Yograj may be a student. So he's asking that I do daily prayers for about 10 minutes, and I don't even know if this is the right time in my life to think about it, but surely there must be other ways to achieve moksha and not just think about studies and building my career and just spending the little time I do on my prayers.
Look, my friend, always have enough faith in yourself. This is the first thing I would say to anybody, any sincere seeker of spirituality. I would say, look, my friend, have confidence in yourself. The reason why you chosen 10 minutes is because that suits your own temperament. For you to try and engage with this idea of spirituality, you're using this 10-minute slot. That seems to suit your own needs. How do I know? Because that's what you're doing. You're already exhibiting what is your particular, approach to spirituality. So a 10-minute prayer, suppose you feel is suitable, that is fine. Suppose while you're doing 10-minute prayer, you think, after 2 or 3 minutes, I seem to lose track. I just want 2-minute prayer. Go for it. Suppose you say, no, after 10 minutes, I feel so nice and bliss. I don't want to stop it. Increase it, 15 minutes. Who am I to stop you? So you are the best compass about your own spiritual progress, and you adjust your own kind of spiritual, ideas depending on how you feel. And the best litmus test, my friend, this is from Swami Vivekananda, is when you're making spiritual progress, you feel more empowered. You feel stronger about yourself, not about other people or whether you rule others or control others or get more money. You feel empowered. You feel stronger about yourself. You suddenly feel more confident about everything that you are all about. And that confidence or that self-assurance is the best litmus test that you're going in the right direction. Suppose after 10 minutes of prayer, you feel depressed and down. That means not working for you. And suppose you say, I do selfless activity for other people, I feel nice and empowered. That's your activity. So in a way, the litmus test will guide you. Anything that makes you more strong about you, feel stronger about yourself, right direction. Anything that makes you feel weaker. Suppose you meditate or close your eyes and go home, and you feel really depressed at the end of it, it's the wrong thing. Don't do it. This is the openness of the system.
Good. So folks, this is the point in time where I normally throw Jay-Pai a googly, a question that he's not expecting, and I'm hoping to catch him out one of these days. So far he's been very good at answering all of them. So Jay-Pai, in life, one of the questions people have is, why are we here? What are we doing on this planet? And what is the purpose of life? So the question for you is, where does one find meaning in life?
Mm-hmm. You see, this is the heart of our tradition. When you say dharma, and when I say dharma means, first of all, addressing the human condition, saying who the heck are we, what is going on, and then trying to resolve it. So first of all, we find ourselves in this dilemma. We were never, you didn't fill in a form saying I want to be born, blah, blah. You just find yourself here, like little baby screaming and, nappies and all that. So you say, what the heck, what is going on? So first when I say address the human condition, that's what I mean. You find yourself in a situation which you did not expect. You don't know where to turn, what to turn, or where to get your, if you like, any kind of inkling regarding what are your values, how you progress. So first issue is recognize your own human condition, addressing the human condition. That's not enough. That's just the beginning of your search. Then he says, resolve the human condition. This is where the real spiritual journey begins. So you say, how do I get my values? This is how you do it. Because when you say, okay, I'm here, I'm struggling, I've got so many, desires and so many, frustrations and so many issues to deal with, and I've got, a headache and backache and this and that, physical problem and mental issues and spiritual issues, whatever. So you first address your condition. Where are you? You are in a mess? Okay. First, you see, people don't recognize it. They just flow. They don't have time to take a stock and hang on. I don't seem to be getting anywhere. So first is to slow down, take stock, saying, okay, I have a lot of issues. So first recognize you have issues. People don't recognize they have issues. They just think everything is wandering. As long as they get tumbled, they just tumble along. The forces, the social forces, the worldly forces just push them around. They just get pushed about. They never slow down and say, why should I be pushed around? What's going on? First address. People don't do that. To start with, they don't. So when you ask the question, what should be my motivation, or what should be my, values, etc. This is the beginning of a journey. Trying to say now what. And again, I'll tell you something very nice. It comes from the Upanishads. This is the resolution to this question. You see, this same question was explored in one of the beautiful Upanishads called Kathopanishad. And Yama, the king of death, this is an allegoric, just a colorful storyteller part, said, look, my boy, two things present themselves to human beings. See, I'm telling you how to resolve this human issue. two things present themselves to human beings. You say, what two things? See how beautifully it's analyzed. This is why Upanishads are so powerful, very poetic and very powerful. She said two things come to humanity, human beings. One is called Shreya, and the other is called Preya. Two Sanskrit terms, very important terms. Shreya means that which is beneficial, and Preya is that which is pleasurable. Oh, you're lucky, pleasant. So two kinds of the issues, whenever you analyze your life, when you face something, you can either analyze that as Shreya or Preya, something that is going to be beneficial. Suppose you Mr. Ibai said, I like to do jogging every morning and do this and do this exercise and meditate for half an hour, whatever. This is Shreya, beneficial. The other bit is prayer. Oh, I must go on a party and I must go on these holidays and I must eat this and drink this wine and all that. There's prayer, pleasurable. So two things approach you. And the only thing this particular lovely philosophy, this beautiful Upanishad says is, when two things come to you, the intelligent ones, this is how you resolve your human condition. Say, hang on, the pleasurable is fine with the kind of I get waylaid by the pleasurable. So hang on. I rather hang on to the Shreya, the one which is beneficial rather than one which is pleasurable. If you make this distinction in your routine life, this is how you address the human condition and resolve it. Every time you look, we all do this, we can't help it. This is our human limitation of failing, if I can say. But whenever issues arise and come in front of us, analyze, is it Shreya or Preya? It's normally sometimes a mixture even, but try and kind of focus your attention on the Shreya, the beneficial, and not the Preya, the one that drags you away, turns you into a little animal, munching and crunching and eating and surviving. It's very tough, but try and focus your attention on Shreya rather than Preya. Then your spiritual progress, you are now resolving the human condition. This is what this lovely Upanishad says in very two simple words, Shreya, Preya. Remember those words? And when you come across, your own human, issues, you'll soon be able to start analyzing, is it Shreya or Preya? And then focus on the Shreya, you're now resolving your human condition.
Okay. I'd like to just welcome a few more viewers. We've got Bhargav Mehta, we've got Akshay Vara, we've got Neha Soda Radia watching us on Facebook, and we've got Rashmi Panchal. Thank you, Rashmi. You've been contributing as well to the conversation. And so Akshay has got a very interesting question. This is more pertinent to people who are in the UK. So I'm going to ask you this question. So how can I reconcile my proud Hindu faith and culture with my support for the Labour Party? I feel that the values of both are compatible, but I find that many Hindus in the UK are not very happy with Labour Party at the moment, and it has issues with Narendra Modi's leadership in India. What should I do?
Okay, first of all, look, I don't enter into the field of politics because it's not my field. But I tell you why the Hindus in general in the UK, I'm suspecting, I have not analyzed. A majority of Hindus in the UK will be subscribing to Conservative rather than Labour. You say, why? Mr. Lakhani, Labour seems to be talking about human values and human dignity and equality and lovely. So why are we missing the point? This seems more like Hinduism. First of all, the reason why the Hindus run away from Labour, one of the reasons is this. Jeremy Corbyn, who is now the leader of the Labour Party, is one of those guys who are stopping Modi from entering UK. Saying he's a villainous person, you can't allow him to enter UK. He was the one signing up saying, don't bring Modi here. So this man, how can Hindus say, oh, we love Modi tremendously, he's the first genuine leader we have produced after 1,000 years. And yet this guy, Labour leader saying, no, he's a villain. So we say, of course the Hindus will run away. This is one reason. But the real reason I suspect, and it may make you smile, is this.
To do with business.
It's to do with money. Conservative Party basically means make money. Business is meant for business people. And we like money. This is our biggest flaw, biggest problem with the Hindus in the UK. We love money. Do you know how bad it is, Nishit Bhai? You'll be surprised. If I go to a Hindu community, people are judged not by what character they possess or what good they are perhaps doing in society. They are judged by how much money they have. Oh, there's this guy, he's buying out the bank. Oh, you know that? Oh. And we all crowd around him. That man may be a nuisance, utter nuisance, a crook even, but because he has got money, our eyes light up, blaze. The language they use, he's loaded. He's loaded, of course he's loaded. I don't know how he got his money, but fair enough. So this is why our eyes light up with money. This is a very sad situation. Look, I'm telling you from my own experience. Again, I should not share this kind of private thing, but I might as well. I used to be a big businessman in my previous incarnation before I decided to take this on. And I used to live in a huge house, 5-bedroom house with swimming pool, everything, chauffeur, everything, gardeners, everything, full time. And people used to praise me, they used to visit me, and we used to get invitation to all sorts of events. We don't know who the people are even. We used to get invitation day and night. So my wife said, wow, we are invited around the world. Everybody's inviting us. So I told my wife, listen, in reality, they are not inviting us. They are inviting this house. They've seen the house. They say, wow, this guy lives like a king. So you must send an invitation to him. If he comes, our function will be kind of enhanced. So they're using me as a kind of just as a showpiece. So they are not praising us. They're not in love with us. They don't like us. They like the house. See how bad it is. This is reality. Our the Hindus in UK are completely fixated on money. They can't think anything higher. They value human beings not based on the character or the wonderful work. They're like, this guy is doing so much work. Do you think they're going to give him a special, nothing? You'll get nothing. Not from us either. But the thing is, we don't value people for what they do. We value them only if they got money. Money. See how bad things are. And we say, oh, this is the real reason I suspect Hindus are more happy with conservatives. But I don't want to enter into this. It will become a big debate.
I'm going to just say a quick hello to my friends who are joining us on the broadcast. Hello, David, and hello, Krishna. Welcome to the broadcast today. Thank you so much for joining us. Just to remind everybody what we do, we run a 45-minute session every Saturday at 2 o'clock UK time. And the idea behind the whole broadcast is to come and help address any questions, any queries that you may have around Hinduism. Remember, no question is trivial. What you may be thinking, there may be 100 other people thinking the same question. So please feel free to leave your questions in the comment area. And now we'll go to a question by Debjyoti Bose. He's asking that, with Maha Shivratri coming up, he's asking, who is Shiva? And what is the importance and role of Shiva in Hinduism?
Okay, good question to explore. You see, there are a lot of, for example, one of the gods, as I said, we are a plural tradition. We can think of ultimate reality as a super personality. This is one of the approaches we adopt. We're not apologetic. This is the way we like to engage with spirituality. So one of the approaches we've adopted is the idea of focusing on this great supreme personality called Shiva. What are the endearing features about Shiva and how are these depicted in the imagery? Let me touch on it. It's nice. One of the images of Shiva is Yogi Raj. He's sitting in meditation, upright, and sitting in deep meditation. And he has no worldly desires. He's covered in ash. No gold ornaments, nothing. This is the image of Shiva as Yogi Raj. Person is immersed in his true nature as a spirit, as Atman. And this is the nature of Shiva, not interested in worldly affairs. So he's Harati. He doesn't not bother with things that attract us. Let's just say prayer things. So here's Shiva as Yogi Raj, one image, beautiful image. So he's telling us, let us focus on our true nature as our inner self. And this is the image that we subscribe to as Yogi Raj. Another image of Shiva, which even the Sun Laboratory loves, and they put it, I think, in front of their research laboratory, is this. Shiva is Nataraj. Nataraj means Lord of the Dance. So we say this is the image of Shiva, very potent image of Shiva. In fact, agrees with modern cosmology. It is saying the Shiva is shown in a circle of fire. And he's holding, with one hand drum, other hand is holding fire, the third hand is giving boons. And so what is this image all about? He's saying here the ultimate reality is in charge of drum, creation, vibration. This is the beginning of creation, vibration. Some boom that creates a star in existence and the universe comes into being. Star, vibration. Fire is a symbol of destruction. He's the one who's going to say, the cycle of creation I've created, I will bring it to an end. And the third hand, he says, I will give you the protection, abhi, without fearlessness. So come to me. These are the image. This is the second image, important image of Shiva is Nataraj. And the cycle of fire is the cycle of creation and destruction. Wonderful image. The third way we like to worship Shiva is again a beautiful thing to explore is Ardhanarishwar. Other imagery of Hinduism, in other godheads in Hinduism, will always have a consort, if you like, a wife kind of figure next to him. But again, somehow, in the Vishnu tradition, you say Vishnu is lying on bed and Lakshmi ji is kind of massaging his feet. Now, this is not fair. You see, it's showing a patriarchal feature. A male as superior like that. In the Shiva tradition, thankfully, is showing equality, absolute equality. Ardhanarishwar means the ultimate reality is neither male nor female. It is both. And this is visible in the, it looks like a weird image, but this is what he's saying. Give equal dignity to women. Women are not secondary in any sense. So here we see the idea of Shiva as Ardhanarishwar. What a wonderful idea. I'll give you some more. Shiva is also called Ashutosh. Again, a beautiful idea. Yes. Ashutosh, people don't realize what it means. It means easy to please. The ultimate reality is not fastidious. Oh, do this severe ritual and wear these the gold earrings and do this kind of havan. He's not bothered. This is Ashutosh, easy to please. This is beautiful ideas of Shiva, Ardhanarishwar, Ashutosh, Yogi Raj, Nataraj. Then one more I'll give you is the Linga. And people, of course, we've come across this issue before. People think, are we worshipping a male sex object? Or what is this, phallic symbol? What is this? You see, the Shiva Linga in a way reflects the idea that ancient Hindus progressed spiritually through meditation. And when they open their eyes and try to explain how is this Brahman, this ultimate reality, manifesting as creation, what's the best symbol? Think about it. And they were in caves, and they would see all these kind of things, stalactites, stalagmites in the caves. That particular kind of rising up from the floor, going upwards, is a lovely image of saying how the unmanifested becomes manifested as creation. That is how the linga comes into being. Nothing to do with male, phallic symbol. Be careful. Again, it's the best example. If somebody says, "Oh, it's male phallic," go to Amarnath. Do you think there's some man kind of with a big giant, penis or something? It's a natural symbol that occurs with the water dripping and turning into a lovely Shivalinga. So this is the idea of natural, recognizing that universe that we see in front of our eyes is nothing but manifestation, springing out from the unmanifested to the manifest. And one of the best symbols is the idea of this linga. So please, when you are challenged, be ready with this kind of robust answers.
Okay, folks, thank you so much. Now, in our own humble way, we try to put everybody together on this little broadcast of ours, and we try and share our little information on Hinduism. I am so very proud of seeing the conversation some of you are having within the groups, helping each other understand things. If I'm not picking up a question, you help each other out. So, that's really, really good. And I'd like to welcome a few more people. We've got Jonathan Tater watching us from Arkansas, one of our regular viewers, Darshan, Sriram, Harsha, Radhika, Shinoy, we've got Dr. Reena, and so many others. So thank you so much for joining us on the conversation today. So Pratik was just making an observation to Akshay before, and I'm just going to read out what he wrote. He says, "I'm planning for early retirement with a reasonable amount of income by the age of 35, so I can go out and serve others, my country, and perhaps the world." He says NRI Hindus are at times more in tune with Hinduism than the Indians themselves. But that is mostly because, he says, we are introverts and we should actually carry our culture proudly. And for that, we have to enable others who are more talented and leave populism or greed, which is the core enemy of all good things. Really good observations, very mature.
Wonderful.
And I'm wishing you all the best in your journey, Pratik, as we go along. Now, we have reached 47 minutes. That's the end of our broadcast for today. If I haven't addressed any of your questions, don't worry. We will be tracking all of them. I've been answering a few comments and picking up your questions from here. We will try and address them in the next week. And what I'd like to do is I'd like to close with something that I picked up from the Wikipedia page for Swami Vivekananda. And it says that each soul is potentially divine. The goal is to manifest this divinity within by controlling nature, external and internal. You can do this either by work or worship or mental discipline or philosophy, by one or more or all of these venues, and be free. This is the whole of religion. Doctrines or dogmas or rituals or books, temples or forms are anything but secondary details. So with that, Jay-Bhai, do you have any closing questions, any closing comments?
Nishit-bhai, what you just said is, if you like, the most marvelous thing the world has ever heard. See, it's redefined religion. Not looking for a God. He says, harnessing nature external, harnessing nature internal, and revealing the divinity which is already within. So not God in heaven, God in your true self. And lovely way. So when you harness nature external, means make sure you're physically well looked after. Harness nature internal, keep your mind under control. It's a real mess. Once you do that, hold these two together, the real divinity, you don't have to manufacture it, that's worthless. It just shows up. And this is what religion is all about. Books, doctrines, dogmas, temples, rituals are secondary detail. It's a very powerful statement to come out from a modern prophet. Thank you for bringing it up, Nishit-bhai.
No problem. So, see you everybody, and we will catch up with you next week on Saturday at 2 o'clock. If you missed the broadcast, I see Mihir Jha has just joined us. Mihir, feel free to watch the replay, which will be just up very shortly. Have a great week, and we'll catch up with you next week on Saturday. Bye-bye.